go up a little bit there on the levels there. Good morning, all. Look at all these people. Look at that. The witness is upon me and each other. That's great. I love it. You guys are witnessing each other too. See, there's lots of nice little lovely chatter in there. Good morning, all. Welcome to a new moon. Welcome to Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Welcome to a new moon. Welcome to a Wednesday, Mercurial all. Hey, I've been wanting to talk to you about Ukraine for a while. I almost went full blast on it yesterday, but we did a radio show instead, which was really weird. This whole Quetzalcoatl corn thing, if you missed out on, that's what's going to happen. But it looks like everything's ready. I just need to do a quick check, making sure that everything looks good. And I don't see any complaints, so I think we're good. So Ukraine, you guys know that most of you know what? I'm going to pretend like you don't know. Countries are not what you think they are. Countries are not what we think we are. Countries are what I think they are because I've been through this for a while, and many of you already do this. We're going to pretend like none of us know this. Countries are not what you think you are. Wait. Countries are not what you think they are. And it makes sense that it would be this way. It would be important that you were raised in the mindset that countries were the way that you used to think they were before you watched this stream. And before you watch this stream, again, we're pretending we don't know this already. You thought countries were these independent nation states, like refined warlordships that were independent and had their own thing. And it would make sense. Geopolitics, you can get PhDs in this stuff. There's all kinds of things that would make you think that this is probably legit. Everyone's talking about it. The news is always talking about, oh, this country hates that country and stuff. And so it's been it's a very easy thing to never question, to go through your entire life and not once ever question. And the truth is that it really just doesn't work that way. It would be much more profitable for a country to not tell you what it actually was. It would be safer. If you were a groundskeeper on the mansion, there would be a buffer between you and the owner if the owner had no say-so in discussing anything with you at all. If there's any kind of grievance, and keep in mind, if you own a large state, you're going to have a lot of people that could have grievance regardless of how magnanimous you were. And so it would become necessary to shield. In modern world, we call this a secretary. You have a secretary. She bears the blunt of any kind of pain that you might have been due. And countries are the same way. Now, the tricky part is that you need to figure out, well, you don't need to, but you get to figure out, well, what is the real country, what isn't? And we've talked about this double-headed eagle for a while now in Order Rap Chaos, discussed the 33, remind you the UN map, azimuthal projection of the globe, which is just fascinating. 33 separate sectors inside this dome. Each of those sectors corresponding to a certain kind of baronship, maybe, and that these underlying custodians really have more of a say-so in how their country is dressed. A country is dressed to appear that way. It's given a flag. Some of you have state flags that are different than other state flags. It's the same kind of thing. You are given the state of illusion of. It's not even illusion, really. It's just a state. If you're a big wizard, you can cast a state on someone. You can go, you are in the state of Ohio. And all these people are in Ohio going, we are in the state of Ohio. We will pay taxes. It really is that easy. This is literally how it works. And this kind of magical stewardship is what we call culture. It's what we call it government. We call it culture. It's really just fashion. It really does come down to fashion, and that certain people have convinced you that skinny jeans are hip. And there's this culture that has all these people with skinny jeans going, man, this is fucking hip. I cannot wear boots anymore. Look how awesome I am. God, I'm so non-supremistic now because I can't wear boots. You can't wear jack boots. Well, you can, but it's a lot harder. All right, we need to work on this skinny jean things. We need skinny stirrups. But skinny stirrups will probably come next, just so you know. That will probably come next. But this whole thing is wizardry, and there are volunteers. The entire world is full of people that are volunteering, raising their hands, saying, hey, I would love for you to put me in a state. And one of those states is country, nationality, all that stuff. We've been living inside these states for so long that they've become normalized. Now, I don't know the field, but as I've mentioned before, I am under the impression that because we have not finished the Order of Chaos, there's still some things need to be done. There are still the grand unification. The unification of a one world government is seriously just these 33 sectors showing themselves. It's just an occulting or deculting of that. It's just an uncovering. It's an apocalypse of now. Here's what it is. The Ordo Ab Chaos creates the different teams to filter out the ones that want a war, the ones that want to stick stabbies in each other, the ones that want to have religious persecutions, the ones that want to cucksuckle other flags and be like, oh, we just fucking love you so much, Israel. Whatever it is. After that chaos is allowed to stir enough where people really get to decide, here's what I'm for and here's what I'm against, then the deocculting happens and the truth is revealed. So globalism has been a very important spell in the unification of order from the chaos. The globalism and the one world order, believe it or not, are two different entities. Did you know that? Did you know that? That globalism is actually the what's called bad cop, and the New World Order, believe it or not, is going to be good cop. I'm not saying that you personally are going to love these cops. I'm saying that the roles that these guys will play will serve as a good cop, bad cop situation. And that's why I've always said for a long, long time, the One World Order is not something anyone's going to hate. Even you, I believe that even you or a descendant of you will actually find agreement with the One World Order. And that's a pretty bold statement to make when you look at all the chaos that's going around. When you look at all the noise. I get why that would be really confusing to think about. But I just want you to understand what a one world government is. If truly everyone was in agreement, I need you to look at nature and try and figure out, what do all of the critters outside agree on? And you will find that that is their one world government, that they have it too. That it's actually not impossible to picture one world government, but it's going to require a very, very, very deep dive into just how awful globalism can be. Really would be the only way to get there. The Hopi prophecy told you there would be a one world government. The Timaeus told you that there will be a one world government again. Most of the mythology has been showing you for a whole time, for a long, long time, that there is a tower that will be built and that this building will be done by people in ecstasy. Nimrod did not have to force anyone to work on that tower. It was a joyous celebration. Now, my theory is Nimrod had this sound technology. And just like you would go to a concert and feel euphoria because you're able to predict beats, we've talked about this before, but because you're able to predict when the next beat is coming in a song, you feel powerful when you listen to music because you can predict the next beat. Yeah. And that kind of situation over and over feels better than living in a random world that has no rhythm. So Nimrod's technology was simply a beat that was so good no one could stop dancing to it. And that dancing was work. It was working on the tower. That was the dance. That something about building the tower. It probably had some lyrics about we're gonna build a tower. And people were building towers, and that's probably how that technology would work. And that every single person that was participating in that had a joyful calling to do that. And I'm not saying it's MK Ultra. I'm not saying it's mind control. I'm telling you that for a one world government to truly be the truth of what it claims to be, it would be very much like every single natural law connection in nature thrown into one. And that means there still is conflict, doesn't it? That means there still is territorial dispute. That means there still is survival, there's extinction, there's adaptation. All of those things still exist, but it exists under this simpler form of natural law. I don't think we're anywhere near this, by the way. So I'm not asking any of you to try and look at what's happening in the world right now and say, oh, well, there's the one world order. I think we are centuries away from that. I believe that when we come to that point, it will only be after, well after, epigenetically, generationally, a couple of generations after we stop jabby each other and snipping each other, after we stop degrading ourselves for attention in public, after all that stops, right? After all that stuff stops, after we stop freaking out about dying so much like it's a big fucking surprise, only after that, we'll need a few generations just to chill the fuck out and just really come back down into our bodies. That's what Aquarius is all about. And only then will this Hopi prophecy be fulfilled. The Joseph and the coat of many colors is the Hopi prophecy, and you're looking at the pores of your skin emanating color at that point. And the emanation of that color, believe it or not, is rendered in the viewer's eyes. And all of us will see the auras of each other. And by seeing the aura, what it really means is you are unable to deny someone's emotions. You're teleempathically linked to them so tightly that you're rendering their aura in real time in your retinas. That kind of connection is going to make psychopathy very expensive, narcissism very expensive. Any kind of psychological, malignant, profitable, bad circuitry is just simply not going to thrive because there will not be enough mystery to allow those things to fester. It's the definition of a tumor. A tumor is surrounded by mystery. Its ignorance surrounds that thing as it grows. This entire process is making us stainless. We are becoming stainless inside this environment. Whether we like it or not, doesn't really matter. Yes, it takes a while to transmute a seagull into an eagle. And the seagull has to want it. No one's going to force the seagull into a dentist chair and peel open its eyes and tell it how to be an eagle. It's not going to happen. The seagull's going to work every day. There's going to be an 80s montage, a lot of working out, a lot of bench presses, right? A lot of running around the beach, a lot of seeing the hot dog and telling himself no. He doesn't need that salt, right? Him trying to catch a fish for the first time in generations, right? He's starting with minnows and he's just too slow. And there's this other seagull that's like this Mr. Miyagi seagull, and he's like, Daniel Gull, wax on, wax off. No hot dog, Daniel Gull, wax on, wax off. And that whole process is going to take a while. So please don't look at what's happening around us and think that I'm suggesting that I see that, because I don't. We still need some more chaos up in here. We do. We need a lot more. And it's coming fast. It's great. It's very, very efficient how fast this thing is coming. I'm going to pull this up for you, my friends. Pull this up for you. Oh, come on. Why are you hiding? There it is, untitled. There it is. And I'm going to pull this down here so we can go full screen like the professionals that we are. I'm going to hit, not the share, I'm going to hit Go to the front. Slideshow. Oh, look at that. It gave me the wrong window. Sorry about that. Let me reset this. You're going to give me a new one now? There you go. Okay. So, one of the many proofs that I have that this is happening is with what's happening in Ukraine. And the world is slowly congealing into globalism, not New World Order, globalism. And I want you to realize that once globalism really, really has its foothold on things, the New World Order will just simply become a natural handoff. You will love the good cop after you see how bad this bad cop is. You'll freaking love it. And so it starts with Russia, right? And the blood's on his hands. And now it turns into Biden saying, we are cutting off Russia's largest bank. Translation, what does that mean? America is stopping their economy from being able to participate with Russia. If you are selling anything to anyone in Russia, fuck you. You haven't had a hard enough time with your finances yet. And so we have to actually cut off America from the economy of other worlds because that will constrict us even more. Okay, it's very important that constriction hit hard, which you'll see a second. Canada is supplying anti-tank weapons to Ukraine. They're also doing the same. They're banning the economy of Russia, which really means that Canadians are disallowing themselves to participate in any kind of consumerism with Russia. This doesn't hurt Russia. This hurts Canada. This doesn't hurt Russia. This hurts America. All of these things are disguised as let's hurt Russia because there's blood on their hands. But none of them actually are really hurting Russia so much as hurting ourselves. And after that, what happens on top of that? The Ukrainian government gives 18,000 weapons to its civilians. Now, why would they choose to give that to Ukraine? We're going to find out. The same time, our media is starting to attack Russian oligarchs, move yachts. I love how they said, all the Russians have all these yachts. They're so rich and entitled, not like you guys. And so they have to move them because we're hunting them down and freezing them. So now it's Russian billionaires that we're hunting. We're not just hunting Russians. We're hunting Russian billionaires now. It's so sexy the way this looks. And it gets so good that even Hollywood is jumping in, promising to never release their movies in Russia. And Elon Musk is saving the day by activating Elon. That guy will lick any obelisk you give him. It really doesn't matter what's on it. He will just go down on that thing. And you end up with people doing this. Did you see him swallow right there? These guys. It's like, you will sign document. Yes. You will sign document now. The other one's like, he's going to sign the document now. We are here to watch him sign document. He will sign document now. And what's really happening right now is that a Ukraine that used to have a strong sense of independence and national pride is now skipping over every piece of red tape, debate, or discussion with their country about whether or not it should enter the EU. Because now they're begging for the EU. And the media knows how to play this. They know how to turn Ukraine. So they're actually putting stories like, we don't know if the EU will even let Ukraine in. Oh, what are we going to do? And it's the perfect setup. And it's so perfect, which is why I really want you to understand why these people are called elites, these 33 sector managers, these custodians. They're elites because they will always be on the side of sentiment. That the sentiment that they were able to stir up will always show you every single time what it is that they want. It will always be used through the curtailed evacuation of culture and fashion itself. That's why it's important that you have those three branches of government, right? That you need culture, you need military, and you need media. You need all three. Now, culture could be religion, by the way, but if I tell you religion, then you might think I don't mean scientism. but I do mean scientism. That is the religion. So this is some brilliant stuff. And here's the thing. If we didn't need globalism to make us stainless, none of this would be happening. None of this would be happening. If we were ready, if we were the giants that I know we can be, none of this would be even working. And guess what? It's not working on you, probably. If you're listening to me, it's probably not working on you. Although, we still have a ways to go personally. You and I both do. We know that. But the entire system is always on the side of sentiment, which is why I'm telling you the truth. Even me telling you that the one world government is actually going to be a good thing. Do you know how hard that is to even try and put that on the table? It's very difficult. People get very upset about that. And they're like, James, your picture, one eye is a little bit harder to see than the other, so you're Illuminati. And I'm like, bitch, I've been telling you I'm Illuminati the whole fucking time. I am an illuminated fucking individual. That's why I can use my teleempathy to look clearly at any situation and go, holy shit, here's what's happening. And it always ends up to be what's happening. Of course I'm Illuminati. How the fuck do you think I'm going to be able to see what's going on around me if it wasn't for that? This fetish that we all have, that anyone more powerful than me must be evil, all that does is allow you to sit there and lose your power and go, well, I can't have more power because anyone more powerful than me would be evil, and I don't want to be evil. So stop it. Stop it. You are Illuminati. If your consciousness has bloomed, if you're aware of a great awakening, if you realize that the truth around you has been hidden forever, not by anyone in particular that's trying to hurt you as much, but just by the sheer ignorance of people around you not willing to see the truth, you are Illuminati, bitch. Accept it. Cover your eye. Let's say the pledge. I am. You're done. You're done. Now, feel the shame of everyone telling you, oh, you're Illuminati. He likes the Illuminati. And go through all that, right? Watch them call you whatever it is they want to call you. Just say, oh, Lucifer, oh, whatever the fuck. That is your initiation. Welcome. 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 You want a one world order too. You do. You love natural law. It makes you sing. You fucking love how nature runs this. You go out and you watch a chickadee kicking the shit out of a fucking blue jay because chickadee's like, no, bitch, I need this spot right now. You see that all the time because you understand there's a deeper prana economy running this system. And size does not make might. Prana makes might. And the clearer your antenna is, all this makes sense. You don't need government. That's why you want natural law. One world order would only work if it was natural law. It's the only way that you're going to get everyone on the same page. It's the only way. And you can't say, well, they're just going to kill the people that disagree. No, they've tried that before. This is the best apocalypse ever. These guys know what they're doing. Could it be better? Of course it could be better. You know how it could be better? You taking that pledge sooner and going, holy fuck. We're surrounded by fucking hyenas. Holy shit. That's your initiation. That's how you do it. Damn right. All of you are confirmed. You are. And if you really look at the symbolism of that, what is that? Oh my God, your eye's open. How evil. What an evil symbol. A single eye is open in you. Your witness, your consciousness, it could be so many things. And I can't think of any of them that are bad. Is it evil because you're able to see things? Come on. Globalism. One head of the eagle. It's no different than, look on the back of the dollar bill. You've got a laurels and you've got arrows. Laurels and arrows. Two heads, one predator. Globalism. Globalism attracts all of these hyenas. Globalism attracts all the cucks. It shows you who the cucks are. It puts them in costumes for you so you can see. And you didn't see those people before because they weren't wearing a mask. And when they weren't wearing a mask, you just kind of just offshowed it like, well, it's, maybe there's a few people. No, it's not a few. This world has been slaughtered with them. And they're running all the bureaucracies. Why? Because it's the only job that they can hold, because those jobs require you to be evacuated and sit in your fucking cubicle. Do you know why the cubicle was brewed that way. It was built that way to attract the globalists. The stormtrooper. The stormtrooper. Do you know how much snot and sweat is inside that mask of a stormtrooper? That's 24/7. Those people are everywhere. And I need you to stop thinking the enemy's Putin or the enemy is Zelenskyy. It's not. It is the ones whose eyes are not open. The Illuminati, prima Illuminati. Because you can't say anti, you can't say D. You have to say why is that so hard to say? Preluminatis. And they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. It's a great platform. Man, Bear, Pig. It's been great. And we're getting there. And we want it faster, which is why the truckers are a good thing. People going to see the wizard are a good thing. It's getting us closer, not further away. But let's watch globalism. Back to globalism. 1957. This is the EU in 1957. You got Italy. You got Spain. Right? It's just 5 countries. 1986 gets a little bit bigger. 2004 gets a lot bigger. 2013. Now, this is globalism. It's attaching itself. Every time you see one of these countries join the EU, what they're really doing is losing their rights. That's what it means. They're losing their rights to majority. They're losing individuality to majority. They're saying, all of these 5, the majority of these 5 outweighs me. And now they're saying, well, that was 5, but now the majority of these 11 outweighs me. Now the majority of these 19 outweighs me. The majority of these 24 countries outweigh me. And that's going to be required in globalism before people start to realize this, because they think, oh, we're more powerful because we have less rights now. Remember 2 steps forward, wait 15 minutes? 1957? Boom, boom, 2 steps forward, wait. 1986? Boom, boom, 2 steps forward, wait. This system will outlast you because this system has a longer timeline to work on. There are only 23 countries not in the EU, and most of them are gone. When I say gone, what I mean is Albania isn't in the EU, but they will be. Bosnia isn't in the EU, but they will be. Kosovo isn't in the EU, but they will be. Montenegro, North Macedonia, Serbia, Turkey. All of those have already fallen. And I'm not trying to tell you guys that the EU itself is the evil entity. That is the deep state theory talking. If you hear me saying, oh, well, all we have to do is just get rid of the EU, then we're all set. You're not following that countries aren't what we think they are. That this conglomeration is no one being forced. I kid about showing the president with Tweedledum and Tweedledee over his shoulders there. That's more of a joke. Because really, when you are the lion, you're going to defeat Predator in a very prideful way. That Predator will come and bow down to you. That's how you will defeat him. What I'm getting at is that these conglomerations, it's not like they had to be the EU. It's not like in 1913 they were like, and we will have this thing called the EU. It'll be a circle with like stars. And it could have been, but my point is that it didn't actually have to have that. It didn't have to have the name. It didn't have to have anything. What it is can we strike a tone in these countries? Can we inject war in Ukraine? Can we drop 18,000 weapons in the streets? Can we distribute as much propaganda as we can through the media? And can we do all that through Russia so no one will ever suspect that the entire purpose of this thing was simply to just kick EU's ass, to kick Ukraine into the EU, to turn Ukraine into Ukraine Ukraine, right? Ukraine. Ukraine has fallen. It's Ukraine now. And it's not the first time. It's not. Venezuela. And what was the sentiment? Venezuela? The sentiment was, well, they're stupid because they're communist. We're not. We're democracy. And what is a democracy? Communism was all for one. Democracy is a majority. People get to decide what everyone has to do. Democracy is actually a step down from communism. Believe it or not, democracy is a step down from communism. And you never once considered that because you've been told your entire life. I'm preaching the choir, some of you guys already get this, forgive me. But you never consider that because you've been brought up as veal the whole time telling yourself that democracy is far superior than communism. But a communist state is that everyone is the same and everyone decides what the same is. So democracy is that, bitch, everyone's going to have to do what the majority tells you you're going to do. So these systems aren't better. And I want you to picture that Hillary Clinton, the diehard Republicans, the QAnon folks, the people watch, even me, I was all over this. I couldn't believe the Clinton body count. I could not believe that shit. I couldn't believe that. I still don't believe it. But I did then. That Clinton to the Republicans is Putin to the Democrats. And all you're watching is a giant Republican-Democrat party forming on an international level. China and Russia will be the new, probably Republicans. It sounds weird, but keep in mind, Republicans were never conservative, like, well, don't tread on me. That was never really built in. It's like a chihuahua saying, don't tread on me, you know. It's like, don't tread on me, but give me a collar with a diamond sequin on it and a bowl, and I'll just lick my nuts all day. This is why we need to become stainless. So you're going to see, as everyone conglomerates, they'll have to conglomerate because they'll be fighting a mutual enemy that'll be divided down the center. So us cutting off ourselves from Russia, Canada cutting ourselves off from Russia is really making us and Canada the same. And Russia and China will turn into that new second party. Like I said, the Eagles, they don't care what you call it. They're not sold on flags. That's why all the flags look so stupid anyway. They're all just retarded colors that don't really mean much. Most of the UAE nations are actually the same flag. They just move some things around. It's all the same colors. You know, it's all the same belief system. They're just pretending. So, and keep in mind that most of the flags that were actually distributed and given out in the Middle East came from the same guy in London, in UK. Look it up. One dude created like 19 national flags for different countries and said, this is your flag now. And they're like, our flag is the pelt of a fox that's been caught on a new moon. He's like, no, fuck you. Your flag is red with a yellow dot in the middle that's got a slash up the side. That's your flag. And all these flags landed in all these countries in the same decade or two. Like I said, the Eagles don't care what you call it. They're simply there to corral. It would be like a cowboy. It'd be like you thinking that a cowboy has a personal vendetta to the sheep. That is like, no, I need to make sure this sheep's far away from that sheep because those two are trouble. No, that's a very self-centered, arrogant thing to think of. That cowboy thinks you're a sheep because you act like a sheep. Preaching the choir, what I'm trying to say is that this kind of mentality is hard for us to catch because of how embarrassing it is. Colors mean things, but what I mean is that they don't care which colors we choose. Their magic is above that. We are using sigil magic. They are using prana magic. They're using appetite magic. They're using the camouflage of us hiding from ourselves, traits that we don't like to see. That's what they use. That's why they're so effective at it. That's what makes it so successful. So this is forming. Now, this is not the first time. Of course, you know, Rockefeller, of course, most of his money was made when the Civil War broke out. because as soon as the Civil War did break out, it just happened to be, lucky him, that him and some investors, Rothschild investors actually, were able to have most of the oil refinery market in their pocket. And of course, when the war broke out, they decided that what we really needed most of all was oil. And so about an 800% increase in the price of oil given to a single contract made Rockefeller who he is. But here's what's weird. That's actually not what made Rockefeller so rich. But believe it or not, what really made Rockefeller rich was in 1910 when the government said, hey, you have to break up your oil companies. And remember how I told you public sentiment? Public sentiment is always showing you who their side is. And in 1910, under the guise of Rockefeller, we're going to punish you because you're too rich and you're too powerful, that actually made him more money than anything else he's ever done. That the government forcing him to split those things up actually set the price for how much each of these separate companies would be. Standard Oil of Ohio, Ohio Oil Company, Standard Oil of Indiana, Standard Oil of New Jersey, New York, California, Kentucky. And since that time, you have these rumors of these separate companies like Chevron, Amoco. It's the same thing. I'm showing you this because I want you to see that these logos are very similar to what countries are right now. Do you understand? That if you worked at BP, it would be very easy for you to think that you were a separate country than ExxonMobil. And if you worked at ExxonMobil, you would feel a sigil affinity to ExxonMobil and consider BP your competition. And that because all this is set in history, no one would ever even have to see who owns what. Why? Because eagles don't need monopoly money. Why would they need monopoly money? Which means you're not actually dealing with the eagles right now. You're looking at something else entirely different, and you're seeing the shadow of that. And I can prove that because literally of what actually happened with oil. That some of the, in my very, very strong opinion, some of the biggest psyops that I've ever seen actually occurred in the oil industry. And that the Exxon Valdez spill, which they blamed on a drunk pilot, they said, well, the pilot had been drinking. And that's what caused a 18 layer, 12 layer, I want to say 19 layer, I don't know, it's so many layers. This multi-layered ship, oil tanker, to gash itself on the rocks and spill all of its oil out. And the images that you saw were just horrendous. It was awful. I was a kid then. I couldn't believe what was happening. And I remember I was at college, I think it was around that time. I remember entering college and I remember just expecting that, well, Exxon will never, ever be a brand ever again. I mean, that would surely put them out of business. And it never did. It never did. And the same thing happened with BP. The deep water, Deep Horizon, I think. Deep Horizon spill in the Gulf, same thing. One of the worst disasters ever. Caused red tide all up and down the coast, all up and down the Gulf. Killed just so many animals. It was the most broadcasted thing, and during the entire time they were showing you the billionaire BP executive on his billionaire yacht, just like we're claiming to be doing right now as we're hunting the Russians. That we're hunting the Russians on the yacht, and that the BP president was on his yacht and he didn't know about the disaster, was the story. And that these two things have been very, very important for globalism, because you can't have globalism with oil. You can't do that. Oil is abiogenic. It's everywhere. You can't limit someone's power if they're using oil. There are too many holes. There are too many holes where independent oil companies can stay in business. You're going to need something tighter, more restrictive. You're going to need to shut the oil down entirely. And if anyone is still trying to do it, because Africa knows oil's abiogenic. Africa knows oil is abiogenic. Africa's entire economy would turn around. I'm not even saying I want it to turn around, but their entire future would turn around if they were allowed to just sell oil. But the pirates are actually paid to keep the business gone. And little operations like this, I think, are so obviously footprints that it still amazes me to this day that these things are able to be picked off. There's an assumption around that anyone can just get on an oil tanker and then just drive it through the Suez Canal. There's an assumption that anyone can just drive their boat through the Suez Canal. The assumptions come with how you watch how this story is supposedly unfolded, that it was just a mistake. It's like, well, this thing broke, and how would anyone know? How would anyone know? Over the most busy, profitable port ever that kept free trade open. This is a mafia experiment, saying you're not going to use that bridge anymore. What do you mean, Rocco? It's my bridge. But Rocco, the town built the bridge. It's my bridge. It's mine. And you're going to make me show it to you, so I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show you that it's my bridge. And that's what this is. Why? Because the globalism requires... actually, the globalism unwinds itself. That once this constriction is built into the scaffolding of this world, it's not even wrong. This isn't even crooked. This is what's required when the world needs globalism, and it needs it. It does. You can look back and see what we do. Look how we treat each other. Stop pretending that we're the innocent ones in this. We're not. Natural law is innocent. Where we're going is... but we got a ways to get there. We still have to get there. And we're doing it. We're getting there. We're figuring stuff out. But the same war happened, right? Stop fracking. Do you realize the reason why fracking was even invented is because we stopped allowing ourselves to drill oil in natural places? The entire purpose of buying Alaska was because it was going to fulfill our energy needs forever. Forever. The entire purpose of us buying Alaska, it said that, was to supply America's energy needs forever. And we have this psyop now where we can't go there. That we have to frack in Flint, Michigan. We have to frack in all these other places. Why? Because it makes oil look dirty and bad. And we paint it the same way we paint Russia right now, using the same tactics. Well, it's just a bunch of billionaires on their yacht. Come on, man, we need to hand out guns on the street. That'll fix our place. And so now what has Ukraine done? By having this actor that was appointed as their president, it's the easiest string pull in the world. Brilliant magic you're watching. And by arming everyone in the street, and hey, I'm all for people being armed, but I am not at all, ever have I ever argued that we should give out free guns to fucking ninnies. That's always been the stupidest idea. That's the worst idea. You are not helping your country by giving away a weapon for free. You're going to want that person to earn that weapon because you want them to know what the fuck it is they have in their hands. When you give out weapons like this, you're doing the opposite. And now you're creating a police state. The entire country of Ukraine, under the auspices of heroic help, is now created a police state that's going to require a stronger form of control to operate. And I wish the people of Ukraine luck. Because I think ultimately that is what would serve us the best. And that war would be a personal decision. That you would wake up one day and say, man, fuck those Russians. Where are you going, Ted? I'm going to Russia. Alone? Yeah, unless you're coming with me, and I'm going to go kill some Russians. That's an organic war. I can get behind that. I can get behind that. I only have one request. Anyone who kills somebody, we get to treat them like they killed somebody. That's all. Whatever kind of rituals we have for that, I don't care what rituals we have. All I ask is that we just acknowledge that, hey, you're that guy that went and killed other people. And it's like, yes, I did. And you did that because some propaganda came on the radio that told you, yes, I did. And that propaganda wasn't even true. Oh, don't tread me. I would rather know who those people are. I fear them more than Russian billionaires. I do. Russian billionaires on a boat, I don't think are really going to have that much fun trying to terrorize my children because they were given a free gun a long time ago. I don't think that's going to happen in a Russian billionaire on a boat. I don't think it is. You don't have to like what I say. But it will make your posture stronger. It will. And you'll survive this longer because every piece on the board is predictable. It's super predictable. It is. It's more predictable than it was back when you were listening to people telling you everything's a satanic cult. This was predictable, right? All this can be yours if you get 2, 3, 4 stabbies. That was predictable. You knew that. See, that's why you're Illuminati. You were illuminated because you saw that coming. It's hilarious how we're like, the Illuminati are here to do it to us, and we're the ones ripping off our own kids' genitals, parading through the street, telling everybody how pure we are. God, you see what I mean? How easy it is? This is why this is happening. It's because we did that for hundreds of years. We still go to war. We've invaded a new country every 1.3 years since World War II. I know you've heard that before, but fuck, that's a lot. Every 1.3 years, we're the ones that decide, hey, that guy's being a bully. Let's go drone bomb him. I don't show him. We're nice. America will save us. Obama will save us. Trump will save us. Putin will save us. Yeah. Right? So we're seagulls. And seagulls want a master. I'm sorry, our society is made of seagulls. Correct that. Our society is made of seagulls. And seagulls are going to want a master. I think I got one more thing here to show you. No, you already saw that. We will join EU now. I will give pen to little man. He will sign away so that we may join EU and become globalists because we believe in our freedom. Yes, our freedom is so important to us that we will sign paper to join EU now. This is what I was going to show you. Two steps forward, wait 15 minutes. All it takes is time. It's happening regardless, and the good news is countries aren't what you think you are. Aren't what you think they are. What I mean is that this is more about fashion. This is more about cleansing beliefs. This is more about a baptism is what it is. You're watching this world baptize itself. And the only way you can do that is by lots and lots of work. So, what do? You stop investing so much in non-zetetic things, right? You don't do what I sometimes do, maybe more than sometimes do. Get caught up in the empathy and emotions of it all. You try and look deeper below it and see what's happening on a salt level, right? As people are learning different things. It's a big, deep lesson, and it makes us stronger, not weaker. Yeah, he's building 7, Gnome. Zelenskyy is building 7 in this. and he will fall. He will fall. This is your 2 towers. Here's Joachim, here's Boaz, and here's little building 7. He will join the EU now. He will join the EU now. Ukraine will join the EU now. The more you see this, the more you recognize the song, which makes you stronger, and that music, that vibration gives you strength. Yeah, and the UK also pulled out, too, Eric. Greenland pulled out in the 90s, so did the UK. And this is what I mean by I don't think it's like crucial that it has to be the EU. I think what you're watching is cultural blend itself. And I think the reason why the reason why EU formed was because of poor border policy, right? The entire purpose why the EU was actually the Schenenberg, oh crap, what is it? Schengen Agreement? Yeah, Schengen Agreement. And what was the Schengen Agreement? People were sick of not being able just to cross a border. Well, what made them sick of not being able to cross a border? Crappy ass border policy. So the EU was actually started because people were freaking out about their borders. They gave up their rights because they found border tedious. And why did they find border tedious? Because it's very easy to inject into the fashion of the culture why we should make border tedious. That's what we're doing the TSA right now. With flying too. Making it tedious. Not only making it tedious, but putting a threshold there. Instead of you must be this tall to ride this ride, you must be this much slave to engage with this form of transport. You must be this much of a slave to go in and sit in this cubicle. It'd be a big day when we realize that the entire time jobs were just people competing for a certain kind of a leash, like a slave collar, right? That'll be a big, big, big day. So these footprints, well before 1910, probably, right? 1870s, that's probably why the Civil War started. The entire reason why isn't it struck anyone as odd that 7 countries decide to go explore America at the same time? Does it not strike anyone here as kind of odd? That at the exact same time they all decided to go? And we've been told the entire time that they were actually competing with each other? So they're competing with each other, they're killing each other apparently, then the next minute they're selling each other things? You're like, well, yeah, of course, makes total sense that they would sell the Louisiana Purchase after all those people died, and they spent centuries building this one of the strongest alliances ever with the Indians. Of course the South was about racism. That's why Custer left from Appomattox and went out to kill some Indians, because they weren't black. It's okay if they're not black, see. We believe this shit because the eagle with 2 heads, the predator with 2 heads, is a little bit scary. But he's actually more predictable than the globalists around you. The eagle is more predictable than all the hyenas around you. Those hyenas, they want to chew your ankles off. They're not going to use rational excuses. They're not going to use pride. They're not going to do it in the middle of the day. They're going to wait till you're asleep. They're going to take a little bit of nipple off that. A little bit of nibble. And watch you bleed. They'll come back 3 weeks later. You're like, well, I really want to sleep without my socks on. You do it again. Do it again, right? So yeah. You guys see it. And you shouldn't lose electricity over it. You really shouldn't. You can watch the fame cannon as it turns, right? As the exact same Canadian government that was like, if you're here to tell us speech that, if you're here to give a speech that you don't like what we're doing, we're going to declare a military operation against you. We're going to create a police state in the capital, the one place that literally a capital was founded so that people would know where to go to complain about government. And that those same people now are out on the streets suckling for virtue, telling you how important it is that we arm Ukraine. We are arming Ukraine. So the globalist is always interested in human rights when it's outside of their country. And anyone inside their country who's interested in human rights is just being a selfish prick. Because that's how the globalism works. That's why you'll feel better out here with the Eagles. You'll feel better as an Illuminati because Illuminati is very predictable. You know what Illuminati is going to do? He's going to say, I'm going to make your laziness expensive. I'm going to make you trying to offload your need for victimhood onto others expensive. That's all you need to know to survive next to an Illuminati camp. Are you doing that? If not, you're fine. But back in the globalist camp, every time you wake up, some fucker either shit in your shoes because he felt like it or he ate the bottom of your heels. And that's every night. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It doesn't matter what you do to help in you. It doesn't matter. You know, this is a war zone now. And even when you're watching the numbers, you can feel better about this when you're Illuminati'd. You can feel better about this thanks to COVID. Because you now know how statistics are stored now. The Illinois Department of Health lady, right? She told you that. And many others, no one's disagreed with that. What counts as a COVID death has a strict definition. That definition does not always mean that the person died from the symptoms of COVID itself. A car crash victim that has a positive PCR test is called a COVID death. I want you to understand that this is not a new technique. This is what happens when you declare war. When you declare war over a city, if you call a certain city a war zone, from the moment you call it a war zone, every single death, regardless of the cause, is considered a casualty of war. We've been doing that with war since day one. Why do you think we would do that strange thing with a pandemic? The answer is because it's a war. The answer is you can see that clearly as Illuminati, but you can't as a hyena. And the hyena is going to make you bend your spine down so you get on all fours, and you'll lose all that electricity that you had as the Illuminati. You'll find more electricity standing up. You just have to get used to standing up. Just making sure I didn't miss anything here. I'm going to save that to next time. Yeah, I'm going to save that to next time too. All right, guys. Let's call it a day. We'll sign off. We got Dojo tonight. Had a great radio cast last night. That was fun. It's a new moon. I can't promise this right now, but if I've got some spunk left in me after our dojo, I might do a new moon radio cast on this channel. I want to remind everybody to please subscribe. You might have clicked this link and not know that you're actually on my second channel, that the first channel was shut down for 2 weeks. So you could take this opportunity to subscribe, please. Hit that thumbs up. Also, really happy to see over 200 people here. That's great. I thought that would take a lot longer for people to migrate over from the second channel. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you for going to the trouble of moving over to this channel. I appreciate it. It really means a lot to me. And yeah, if you missed the cast last night, check it out. Or just wait for the next one. We're getting better at this. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Till then, guys, have a great day.